I would have to go back to that moment, back to my dorm when I was junior. I didn't have the right mindset to play in that jungle. I didn't sleep. I could see myself in that corner. I couldn't breathe. And I was looking at all the scenarios, and I had to make a decision. Do I want this or I don't want this? And I made a decision that I wanted to follow my dream.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Bouk, The Real Story. We always welcome real and authentic guests every episode to share their real story. Welcome to the show. I would like to start by saying thank you to SP Experience in Inglewood for the outfit. Again, thank you for sponsoring the show. You guys do such a great job styling your guests and your clients there, and you did a great job with me again. So thank you very much. Also, thank you very much. There will be also giveaways through SP as we go on. You will be able to find more information on the social media page, on the Bouka Performance social media page, and also on SP Experience on how to participate. Thank you also for Dedicate Kitchen in Martyr Loop. You guys doing always an amazing job with at the restaurant there, which is we also guys do meal prep as well. So for those of you who are looking for meal prep options, Dedicated does an amazing job. They have a great staff, and they're always consistent, and they value what they do. So thank you very much again for sponsoring the show. I would like to get the show started. This is a pretty cool guest that we have today. He's been in a lot of places. He wears many hats, done such an amazing job in his career, but also I had a chance to work with him a few years ago. Amazing person, very genuine person, very humble. Right? When you meet him, you wouldn't know the history behind what he's done in his life. Claude Vilgrain, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
No, thank you. There's a lot of things that I would like to talk to you about, but when I met you, the cool thing about you, obviously, I knew that you played in the NHL, but the story about your life was pretty interesting. I know you were born in Haiti, moved to Quebec City. So I would like to understand a little bit of that transition from you moving to Haiti and to Quebec City, and how old you were when you moved.
Well, my dad, spent 7 years at Laval University. He studied agriculture and economics. So he spent 7 years there, and he went back to Haiti, started working there, got married, had me. But his dream was always to go work in Africa. For some reason, didn't work out, and then he ran into some people at a symposium. They told him, "Why don't you come and work in Canada, in Quebec? You got everybody knows you there. You got the degrees, and they need people for the government in Quebec City." So I was 18 months old, and we came back. That's how the journey started.
Yeah, so you were pretty young when you moved to Quebec City.
Yeah. And then my mom was pregnant with my brother. She came a little later, but it started there.
Awesome. And then from there, that cool thing about your story is my father is also big into academics. This was also one of the reasons why he was able to move to Quebec City with my mom and my sister at the time. Yeah. My sister was born in France. And also my dad is big into economics as well. He has a PhD in financial planning. But for him, academics was always the most important. Obviously, the family was the most important, but academics was the most important. Yeah. So talk to me about you wanted to play hockey, knowing that your dad was really focused on the grades.
Well, I think we had the same, I don't know if we had the same dads, but school was important. When I started to play hockey, I was the only one not going to university. I ended up going to university at the end, so just to close the loop. Yeah. But it started like, I was going to high school in Quebec, and then I was playing hockey like any other little Canadians. And then the local team, junior B team, played practice at 11 at night on Tuesdays, and then their games went on Thursdays at 10:30 at night. And then my high school was downtown, so I had to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I had a tough time.
Yeah.
I had a tough time. I didn't sleep well at night, and I had a tough time at school just to stay focused. So my dad said, your last 2 years midget there, so last 2 years start looking at another sport. And then that's why I started to ski with my buddy, alpine skiing. Downhill skiing. Yeah, why not? We had a couple of hills by our house, and then that was my preparation to life after hockey, I guess, at the tender age of 17. So my last year midget, our team wasn't that good, but we finished the season well, and then we ended up winning the league. And that was a nice way to finish for me. And then at the same time, we were doing a bilingual exchange with a school in Kipling, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to be part of it and stuff like that. And we found out that we were going to provincials. And at the same time as we were going to Saskatchewan. So our top goalie, top forward, top defenseman, they said, the heck with that. I'm going to Saskatchewan. And I felt bad. And I thought, my dad, school was first, but hockey was, that was my last hockey. So I thought, I'll finish with a bang. So I go to the provincial, which was in Saint-Hyacinthe, yeah. So finally we get there. First game we're playing against Hall, Quebec. We lose 9-0.
Oh,
and I thought, 9-0. I could have been somewhere in Saskatchewan, maybe playing the hay somewhere with somebody. And then said, 9-0. Wow, why? Second game we won in triple overtime. Oh, wow. And then double overtime, and then single overtime. And I was, all of a sudden I was the top player of the team because all the top guys went to Saskatchewan. So then we go to finals, and we're playing that team again that beat us 9-0. And I'm looking in the stands. My poor dad was in the stands, and people kept talking to him during the game. And then I didn't know what was happening there, but I was playing my best game of the tournament, and we beat that team that beat us 9-0. We beat them 5-2. So all those people talking to my dad in the stands were scouts. And all of a sudden, they said, who is this guy? Playing AA, not even AAA. And then I got drafted. And the reason I played AA just because every year I played in a division. If my buddies didn't make that division, I would go down with them and score tons of goals, but I was with my buddies. So I would make AAA and say, sorry, my buddies didn't make it, so I go down with them. So the spring, all of a sudden, the guys at school tell me, hey, Claude, you got drafted in the Quebec League Junior. What does that mean, drafted? Yeah, read the paper.
You weren't even watching, hearing you didn't know.
I didn't know how that works.
Okay.
And I know across the street from the school, we had the Colisée, the Quebec Colisée, where the Quebec Nordiques played.
Yeah.
And also the Rampart, which is the junior team there. And I went to see, we used to go see a lot of games. We had a good deal. But those 2 years that they were my last year, I wasn't motivated to go. So I went a couple of games, and I saw the team Laval. And then guys were big, beards, mustache. And anyway, I get drafted by Laval. And I said, well, there's no way I can play in that league. Guys are big, they're men, and blah, blah, blah. So I tell my dad, hey, I just got a call from the team in Laval. They're going to send me information, and I'm going to go to a camp there, and so forth and so on. And my dad, he looked at me, what are you talking about? And then, so finally, they called back, and I said, I can't go. School is important. And
so your dad didn't want you to go at first?
Oh, he didn't know. First of all, he didn't understand what I was talking about. And then finally, they called, and they talked to my dad, and they came. That was pretty intense. I just sat there, listened to my dad, to them talking to my dad. oh wait, yeah, he's gonna be a future star. We're building a new team. We just bought the team, and then my mom was sitting there going, well, what about school? What about school? What about school? And anyway, so the deal was I would go to pre-camp, and then after that, whatever happens. And my dad knew I was too nice. I was too nice to be a hockey player. Now, how nice I was, it's simple. A guy could call me the N word all season long. And in the playoff, I bump into him and I would get, oh, sorry, I would help him up. That's how nice I was. So till this day, people can't believe I play at that level.
That's awesome. And then from there, what convinced your dad to let you play, because obviously he had the reservation with school and, when you play junior hockey as well, obviously there's a lot of road games, a lot going on. How difficult of a sell was that to your dad?
Oh, I didn't sell anything. I think the team came back with sticks and skates, and they wanted to sign me. And I was working at the Chateau Frontenac, and I got to call my brother. Hey, Claude, the GM and the owners are here. They're talking to Dad. Come here, come quick. Dad is pissed off. So I took the bus, almost 50 minutes to get home. And then you could could see the tension. My mom was gone already in the kitchen. She didn't want to talk to those people. And then at that time, I was begging because I went to the pre-camp and I did well. And I realized I was as big as the other guys and I could play. And then by that time, I said, yeah, it's my dream. I want to do it. I want to do it. My dad, school. And he got mad and said, okay, Chris, like a swearing.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris maudit. He signed the waiver, left. And then for 2 weeks, they never talked to me.
No way.
No, 2 weeks.
But what's interesting in that is, I always connect with your story because we also both from Quebec and grew up there. And it's funny how you kind of threw the little slang word there. It's so funny. Yeah. But at the same time is, when I work with kids here a lot, and I see how involved their parents are in what they do all the time and driving them places and setting things up and planning everything for them, right? They're all, it's like their parents are like their personal agents, right? They plan 6 months ahead of time, and again, our parents loved us, and they always want the best for us, but based on where they came from, especially you being from Haiti, my dad being from Togo in Africa, the way they got out of the country, it was because of education. Yeah. So it's not that they don't think sports is good, is for them, education is the way to succeed. Sports is just something that you do to distract yourself, right?
Yes.
And the fact that you go and you look at all these kids that have such a great structure for them to succeed in sport and they should be thankful to their parents. Yeah. The hurdles that we had to go through, because my dad too, a lot of times, I had to convince him I need to go to this school because it's better for football. They're like, no, it's too far. It's going to distract you for school. You got to go to that school, right? Yep. How did you perceive that at that age? Was it frustrating for you?
Frustrating, yeah, a little bit. I finally, when I went to Laval, Montreal, basically, I couldn't go to the same CEGEP as the rest of the team. My dad wanted to make sure I go to a better CEGEP. So I was, Montreal's a big city. So I was kind of outside, so I missed the camaraderie with the guys there. So I went CEGEP, and my dad wanted to make sure that he didn't think I was going to do anything with the hockey anyway. And then, but he was surprised that I made the team. You know what I mean? So, but school was very important, and then that's how I got there, and then that's when my journey started on the way to the NHL.
That's right. So talking about your journey here is because looking back, you've traveled quite a bit. As starting playing with the Laval Les Voisins, right? And after that, obviously, you have a tremendous career. But a lot of times, when we talk together, it's a lot of it that you talked often about your junior experience with Les Voisins. And that, for me, it really kind of give me a little bit of a grasp of how difficult things must have been for you playing hockey in Quebec in the 80s, I think 70s at the time. 70s, 80s.
Oh, I want to go 60s. Okay, keep going. Keep going. No, that was 70. Yeah, and
almost early end the 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, I was drafted in 82, so 80s.
Yes, right.
80, 81,
especially also being a Black player at the time. I want you to talk a little bit about your story with Les Voisins, and obviously from a hockey's how it was for you, but also what you've experienced over there.
Yeah, so basically, I got to camp, and first of all, my dad still was trying to convince me not to go. The gurus of hockey in my community would say, "Hey, Alex," that was the dad, my dad's name. He says, your son is going to be like a meat. It's like a meat market. Just a big piece of meat. They're going to use him, and by the time he's done, he's going to work at the gas station, pumping gas. And those are the words my dad doesn't want to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
And then and I said, besides that, your people have weak ankles, and that like the light went on with my dad. He said, well, basketball players, football players, they do pretty good, and they're Black. Yeah, it's not the same hockey. And my dad kind of got insulted. And that's why he let me go, basically one of the reasons. So my first junior game, pretty excited. One of the things I have to say is, I made the team, but the new ownership, that was the second year of the new ownership, and they only kept 3 returning players, the captain, the defenseman, the goalie. We were all new, and pretty skilled guys, but all new.
They're trying to rebuild a little bit?
Yeah, because there's a kid coming up for the next draft, and his name was Mario Lemieux. So they want to throw the season, but we played well all season. But my first game, my parents... came for that first game, and the place was packed, and we were playing Montreal Junior, which is a crosstown rival. So I'm pretty excited, and just to also to show you the kind of person I was, like we're doing the warm up, and my puck would go on the side of the Montreal side. And I would go and chase my puck, and they wouldn't give me my puck. And I didn't realize like the pucks were for everybody, and if my puck goes there, don't think about it. And then the other team they were playing around with me, and I kept chasing in their zone. In their zone. Anyway, so we're doing the warm up, and then there's no netting behind the net, and we were going around taking shot, crossbar in the stands, and I see my mom coming out on top there from the concourse. Hey, Claudie. I said, Mom, get out of there. The puck were flying left and right to her. Get out of there. And she, yeah, I see you. Go, no, I see you. I was so nervous. I see pucks, guy hitting the crossbar, missing her. Anyway, that was the start. So then the warm-up is over. Zamboni goes on and goes off, and then it's time to go on the ice. Half the crowds were Montreal fans. So there was a home game. I get on the ice, cross over behind the net. I'm pumped, my first game, and I get on the Montreal side. I say, bula, 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 go back to Africa, taxi. I guess there was a lot of Haitian taxi. And then I just went, psh. That was the worst hockey game of my life. I never wanted to skate on that side. Face off, I would make sure to be on the inside, away from them. They were making monkey gestures, sound, and that was the worst game of my life. So I saw my parents in the lobby afterwards. They never noticed anything. The only thing my mom noticed, that I was wearing my graduation beige suit, 3-piece suit. And the first thing she said, "Oh, Claude, don't wear your clothes at the game." She thought I was wearing my suit underneath my equipment. That's all she remembers. But anyway, so that night I went back to my billet, and I sat in the corner in my bedroom, lights off. I couldn't breathe, and I wanted to quit. I didn't want to quit. And finally, it was 7 in the morning. I got up, and I said, "This is my dream. I don't care. And that changed my mindset about being a hockey player.
So when you were sitting in that room, in that dark room, it sounded a little bit like you were kind of going through like an imposter syndrome a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You're like wondering, what am I doing here? Like this can't be right. There's something wrong. Why am I here? Did you feel like that a little bit?
Yeah, is that going to be like this every game? And I thought, okay, what's the other option? Go back home, finish my degree, and then have a regular job and have the same problem happening. Because back then, it wasn't easy to be a black kid or a black guy. So I told myself, I got up that morning, I told myself, there's no way, nobody will prevent me for following my dreams. That'll never happen. They could make as many monkey sounds as they want. I'll keep playing.
I love that.
And then all my best, when I had issues with fans in the stands there, always my best games after that, either pros or in Europe.
They didn't realize they were just feeding that beast every time they made those sounds and made those comments. And the one thing that, and then you kind of made a point of it earlier about how nice you were, is when you talk about it and when I see you, you don't have any resentment. You still you talk about it, but it's not like it didn't follow you along your life. You didn't like be mad. You weren't
a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, you had a chip on your shoulder, but you weren't resenting the world of hockey for the rest of your life just because of why you went through. Why is that? What's in you that's allowing you to forgive people like that?
First of all, I'm too nice. That's for one reason. And I know there's a lot of guys that are still bitter about their career, just like that, because now thinking back, missed opportunities are just because I was black and French, double whammy. And if my dad, I sat down with my dad one time and he said, "Claude, you had a great career," and looking back, how many guys here in Calgary, for example, would give a right arm to do 1/3 of what I did. I played in the Q3 season. I was an all-star there. I went to university. That's another story, the draft. I got drafted by Detroit. Then I went to university for 3 years. I was all Canadians. I joined the national team. I traveled the world, and I ended up playing in the NHL. And I should have played more, but that's another story. But, at the end, some guys, everybody has their own stories, and this is my story.
Definitely. I thank you for sharing that. And then you being in Laval, now obviously you're going through what you're going through there. And now, as you said, they were doing all these things and all these moves to get Mario Lemieux to come in.
Yeah.
And you had a chance to play with him.
Yeah.
So what was the atmosphere when, obviously you're still dealing with what you're dealing with, but then he comes on the team now. What was the atmosphere? How was the chemistry of the team there when he came in?
Oh, that was a special moment. Mario's a special player. I was, the team wasn't very good, and I was number one center. I had never played center before, and because that's how the team was made. And then 5 seconds after we named him as the first pick, I became second center. So that's how quick. He came, and the first practice, he was toying with everybody. He was like 15. He was so smooth. Our best defenseman couldn't stop him. And I was in awe. Because you heard of the 72 Summit Series, Russia against Canada.
Yeah.
That big series. I was 9 years old. That was a turning moment in my life. I remember telling my dad, I want to play like the Russians. But after that, playing everywhere I played is grab the puck, shoot it down, don't hang on, don't use skills. Just puck out, puck in, puck deep, hit, that's it. And I was looking at Mario and dangling and making some nice passes, nice moves. And I was learning from the kid, And I kind of shaped myself around the way he was playing. But I didn't have the same skill set, so I had to add something else to my game, which just took me a while to figure that out. So,
what did you have to add to what did you have to add to your game to kind of a little bit of toughness?
My uncle always told me, I should put some I had a red pepper and ginger under my testicles before games. That's what he used to tell me.
Because you just played on
Because
fire.
I'm telling you, I was smooth. I got hit. One thing, like my dad always asked me, how come you fall down? You're always on the ice. And it's not like I fall down. It's like I get slashed, tripped, hooked. I was always one of the top guys, but I got hooked, grabbed, cross-checked, but I would get up and kept playing. This is the way it was. And then until my last year midget, I think that kind of changed a little bit the way I needed to play. One guy, he wouldn't leave me alone. He wouldn't leave me alone, and finally beat him. But before that, I had enough. I snapped. I start bang, bang, bang. I just kicked it. I never fought before. And then it took me about 20 minutes after everybody was gone from the dressing room to go in the lobby to face my dad. I thought he was going to be so mad. And then when I got to him, he goes, finally, give me a high five. Okay.
Defending yourself.
Okay, but yeah, so everybody, I was peewee, bantam, midget. They kept telling me, hey, you got to be more aggressive, got to be more aggressive. Yeah, but I want to play like the Russians. That was my answer. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's, it took me a long time to figure that out.
For sure.
And then to figure out if I want to follow my dreams, be a pro hockey player, I have to change a lot of things.
That's right.
And I did change a lot of things.
That's right. But you did it in a way where, was it more in a way of anger, or it's just, this is what I need to do to succeed?
There was no anger. First of all, coming from the Quebec League, it was mainly offense. And then the rest of the country, Ontario League, Western League, it's all about physical play, defense, and I had to be better at that. And then protecting the puck along the board, be stronger. I realized I could do that. And then all of a sudden, I was discovering myself. And I was discovering myself as a junior player. And then I went to university, and all of a sudden, again, French University in Moncton, playing against the Nova Scotia teams, the UPI teams, and they were very aggressive. And then I learned how to play through that. And then I got the invitation for Team Canada. And that was a launching pad for me.
Definitely. How was your experience on the national team? Because you're the first Haitian-born player on the national team. This is an amazing accomplishment. How was that experience for you?
Well, I traveled the world, man. From Alaska to Japan, went through all those Scandinavian countries, Russia several times, East Europe, West Europe. I saw the wall. I still got some aeroplan miles from those trips.
That's awesome.
And as obviously a black hockey player going to Europe, that was different.
For sure.
I would go play in Russia. And then every time I would go on the ice, I would hear some clapping or reaction. So I didn't know that was for me. But as I'm watching the sports news on TV, the Russian TV, I could see I was always on cameras. When there's a break, always on me. And so much so that the next practice, pregame skate for the finals, all the guys they put some black tapes on their face. And,
no way.
Yeah, as a joke, but just...
So this narrative never left you, even from you playing junior, going to university, going to the national team, it's still the same.
So to me, the guys were just laughing at that, just... and then, what am I going to do? But I went. We went to play one time in Poland, and then we played in a little town, and the place was packed, and I could see my face on the front pages of the newspaper previewing the game. And every time I had the puck, they were screaming something, gar, 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 gar. I was really getting annoyed. Every time I had the puck, everybody got up and they're going like this at me. I just want to shoot the puck in the stand. So we played that game. I played good. That's fine. Then we go to Warsaw. We get to Warsaw. We get to visit the concentration camp. It was very emotional and stuff like that. Then we go to the hockey game. So I was by the ice, and I was throwing a football with one of my teammates just to warm up. And then the stadium was empty except for I would say the 6-7 rows right on top. They're full of fans. Well, it must have been the cheap seats. So I'm throwing the football with my friend and my teammate, and then Guy Charon, the assistant coach, wanted to talk to him about something. So I'm by myself waiting by the ice level. And then everybody was staring at me. I could, when maybe, I don't know, 600,000 people just...
What country was that?
Poland.
Poland, okay.
And so, and again, I was, front page on that newspaper. So I could hear that word again. And I got on the ice, I took the football, I threw it way up there. Too bad they weren't NFL scouts. And then they throw it back, and I started playing catch with the fans in the stands and back and forth. They'd throw it back at me on the ice, and that was my warm-up. Then we go on the ice for the game, and then introduction of the players. Everybody thought Gretzky was going to be there. I guess he was Polish or something. So they introduced our players one by one. And they got to me, and a big standing ovation.
No way.
Gork. I still don't understand what's going on. Big standing ovation. And played a game, won, and I guess they were fan of me. Like they weren't like saying bad things. They were appreciative of watching me play, I guess.
So it's interesting because everything has happened to you before, it would have been easy for you to...
I think that's what it was, automatically.
But then you look back and you appreciate... How did that make you feel?
Yeah, well, the translator, she explained to me what they were doing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I felt a little better because I was annoyed.
For sure.
But a standing ovation was weird. That was weird.
Definitely.
And then, everywhere, the traveling was... With the team, it was always hurrying away. We got to the airport, we're sitting on our bags, waiting to go through, sometimes 2 hours and things like that. Either Poland, Czechoslovakia, it could be Norway, all those places, Russia. And every single time, I'm standing there beside my Team Canada bag, I got my Team Canada sweatsuit, my Team Canada toque, and Team Canada jacket. All the other players are around me by their bag, and every single time there'll be three cops coming in with their their machine gun, whatever, and one behind me, one on the side, and one asking me for my papers. And they would search my hockey bag and everything, and they would say just a random check, and they would walk away. And that was annoying me because, what about the other guys? Why my bag? It's like because you think I'm an intruder, because I look different, but it's full team there. But as I got older, I realized they were just curious. They just wanted to know who I was, if I was like everybody else.
That's right.
But you don't know how many times I had to search my bag. I played 7 years in Europe. I would come out of a Christmas shopping market with my 2-year-old, and I would get checked my IDs all the time. And I was getting annoyed as I was having kids, and that was annoying. But that was my Team Canada. That was a great experience. We played everywhere in the world. I got so many good souvenirs.
That's awesome. And thank you for sharing experiences there. And, and I always, as you talk, you have such an amazing way of dealing with all of these things. I personally don't know how I would have handled that. I know for me, after a while, you keep saying these comments, you're going to have to see me at some point. That's just how I am. But for you, you've always dealt with it with, and even when you say, oh, well, they was just curious, for you have such a pure heart. And I'm always respectful of that. And I'm always admiring of you for that, how you deal with things, how humble you are. You know, from after that, you know, you obviously you go and play from national team. You had a great NHL career. And talk to me a little bit about the transition after you going to the University of Moncton and then obviously playing at the pro level. How was that for you?
Yeah, so from Moncton, I went to national team. And then obviously my university team wanted me to come back from the last year. I was just the league MVP and all Canadians. And then, but traveling the world was great. A great experience that I wanted to pursue. And then, but I got invited to different NHL training camps, New Jersey, Minnesota, and Winnipeg. So I had talked to John Ferguson and I said, yeah, I'll go to the Winnipeg camp. But in the meantime, I made the pre-camp from Team Canada, and I was part of the tryouts, training camp tryouts, which a training camp tryouts is, we would go to, we went to Germany, Kiev, and Russia, played some games, and then come back and play exhibition games against NHL teams. But just before we came back from, we were in Germany, the coach Dave King asked me to come and talk to him, and Winnipeg wanted to know when I was coming to camp. They wanted to send me, all the fares and everything to go to camp. And then Dave King said, okay, we have the choice. If you go to the camp in Winnipeg, you might lose your chance to play in the Olympics. And then I had to make a decision. And I said, well, I'm going to Winnipeg as a free agent. I might end up in the minors and then miss out on a great opportunity. So I decided to stay with the national team. But I was on the trial basis, a tryout for half a season. And we had guys, that year we played with 100 different players. Guys coming in for a couple of games and get caught and stuff like that. Basically, we want to create a program and a team and build to the Olympics. Some guys were already in the program for 2 years, and I ended up being there 2 years. But that was great. And then after that, I signed as a free agent with the Canucks. And right after the Olympics, that's where I went.
Okay. And then from there, you were with the Canucks, and I know you went from, obviously, I know you played with the New Jersey. You were in New Jersey for a little bit.
Yep.
You were with Canucks for a little bit, and I think I'm forgetting a team there.
Flyers, couple of games.
Flyers. Okay, so then from there, I know from your career, you've played. I think you've played the majority of your game with the Devils. But I also seen that you went back and forth from the AHL and back to the NHL. Yeah. And talk to me about the transition, you going from these leagues, going back to the NHL, going back to the AHL. How was that transition for you?
That's not easy. And that's funny you're saying that, because I was watching this afternoon, they were talking about kids that 28 years old, back and forth all his life, and finally made it. But when I went, the Olympics didn't go as well as I wanted to, and I went straight from there to the Canucks. And when I signed with the Canucks, Pat Quinn and Brian Burke were the GM and president. The team didn't have a coach yet, and so it didn't take me long to realize that a new coach didn't want me there. So. Two practices, never talked to me. Pre-game skate, never talked to me. I do the warm-up, and after the warm-up, he comes in the dressing room, and he tells me, what position do you play? Do you want to play? What position? You guys are fighting for the playoffs, and then you're asking me what position to create a line or what? So my first shift, I come back on the bench. He goes to me, hey, Vilgrain, you're not playing against Finland here. Okay. Second shift, I go on a breakaway, score my first NHL goal. I'm thinking, I'm going to play 20 years in that league. Third shift, I try to make a play, chip by the defenseman, go get the puck in the corner. Decent shift. Comes back on the bench. Hey, Vilgrain, you're not playing against Finland. I said, oh, come on. Okay, what's going on? All game. Sarcasm. All game. Like, my first NHL game should be my great experience. I scored my first NHL goal. And I was playing a regular shift, and it was like that for 6 games. And then I knew I was in the plan and got traded to the Devils the next year.
And then from there, I know you had to play a few games in the AHL. How was, because from my perspective, because I actually watched the Wranglers game. It's really good hockey, really, really good hockey. And you always wonder, what's the differentiator between guys in the NHL? Obviously, you always have the 5-star players, the Crosbys and all. But there's guys there's guys that are there. I always feel sometimes it's a numbers game, and there's some guys in the AHL that could play in the NHL. What's your perception of that? How, when you play in the AHL, how did you see, what was the biggest difference?
Well, I knew I could play. I could play. And then in my case, the biggest problem was they had too many guys on one-way contracts. One-way contracts mean if you're making $400,000 in NHL, if they would send him down to the minors, they still have to pay him the same amount. Like me, I was in a two-way. I was making over 200, but going down the minors was 90. So and then we get paid by days. Your salary divided by 192 days.
Sure.
So every time I get called up, all of a sudden, if I went from maybe $500 a day to $1,000 a day, so that's how they manage their money.
There's the politics involved.
The politics involved. I remember I would get called up at 4:01. So, and then like I was in a Hershey, the farm team of the Flyers, and so it was 40 minutes away. So they called me at 4:01 and then come for the game tonight, and I drove there. But I didn't get paid like as an NHLer because they called me at 4:01.
Wow.
And then I remember New Jersey, I played a few games, and then Lou called me at 3:30 in the morning and to tell me he's going to send me back down to the minors. Had he waited until 4:01 in the morning, he would have to give me the NHL salary for that day, no matter where I went.
How many times did that happen to you?
Oh, a lot. And sometimes I had a bonus in the minors. If I score so many points, I would get, or play so many games, I would get 5,000, 10,000. And I'm in the minors. And all of a sudden, I get recalled for the rest of the season upstairs. And I don't get those bonuses.
Wow.
But if you going back to why some guys make the team, doesn't make the team. Like the style of players that I was more a style for top two lines. And then top two lines are the stars, the Crosby,
the goal scorers,
And I know it's tough. In the minor, you see our third or fourth line guys get called up to play third or fourth line, and I know I could do that, but that's what it is, and that's why I had to change my game, be more conscientious of my defense, and a lot of the top guys, they go play in Europe, and they have great careers in Europe. And
because you still well taken care of in Europe, still get paid well,
decently
well, depending on which league you're in.
Yeah, not as much as the NHL, obviously, but you're a good player, But, it's like when Mario came in, I was a center, Mario's a center. So if that's the only spot I can take. So, for example, New Jersey, for me to make New Jersey, I had to be Claude Vilgrain, Stéphane Richer, Brandon Shanahan, John McLean on the right wing. It was so hard. Like, there's no way I'm going to play a game there. So the next year, I asked Lou if I could go to Europe, and a team was interested. And I would have done well at that time. I was playing very well. And the last minute, Lou decided, no, come to camp. I was mad I lost that opportunity in Europe. So I get to camp, and they put me on the left wing. I shoot right. They put me on the left wing. We were weaker on the left wing. So I played 9 exhibition games. 9. And I could play a game in Boston with Team A, and then I go on the private jet to go all the way to San Diego, play with Team B. And I thought, I wasn't saying anything. And then there's a lot of cut. I was still around playing on the left wing and doing well. I think I finished first scorer of the preseason, but I played most of the game. And then I remember I was in a hotel room with my wife, and we were pregnant with our first kid. And I didn't want to go talk to Lou, say what's going on with me. And then my agent said, just go ask. They're going to say, he has to say something sometime. So I went to see Lou, and I said, Lou, what's going on? My wife is 8 months pregnant. She's in the motel. And then what's my status? Oh, you're still there? Oh, no, go find a place. You made the team. That was the best moment of my life.
That's awesome.
I stayed an extra 4 days at the hotel, not knowing that I could have gone and find a place to stay. So I finally made it because I had to adjust, play on left wing. In the previous 2 years, I work on my defensive game. And
that's so awesome that you went through that later in your career, where I see a lot of kids, they get put in certain positions. So no, this is the position I play, right? On the team now, we need you to play this position.
Yeah.
And then they start pouting and they start getting mad and they start talking about, the coach doesn't like me and all these things, where if you just learn to adapt and go and play that position, you don't know what's going to happen.
And you'll be a better hockey player.
That's right. And embrace it. Learn how to be adaptable, right? Because when you get to those levels, you're not being asked, you're being told.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a democracy.
No.
You're playing there.
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to do now, right? You have to learn to adapt as a young age. So when you get to that level, you already, something that but for you, you've done this your whole life.
Yeah.
You always had to adapt, right?
Yeah.
And which paid dividend for you when you got to that level.
Yeah. Yeah. So I coach elite level here in Calgary, and I hear the parents all the time, yeah, he's better at center. That's his position. He wants to play center. And I always say, the next level, the centers are the top players. The next level, they're the top players. If you can't play on the wings, you might not make that team.
That's
and
right.
then you go into blame politics.
That's right.
But I always tell my kids, and when I do drills on the ice, let's say I do one-on-one, it's not just one forward against the defense, everybody one-on-one, because the way the game is played right now is the defensemen are more offensive, and then the forwards have to be able to stay back and play defense. So
sure.
I saw a couple of goals against Team Canada in the Four Nations there. And there was a forward as a defenseman. He looked awkward. And then that could have cost them the...
That's right.
So
That's true. Which was a great tournament, by the way. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming, but they did such a great job representing each countries and play with heart.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for these guys for doing that.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about your wife being pregnant at the time, and I know that you have 2 daughters, right?
Yes.
I know Cassandra played hockey, right?
Yeah.
And actually doing an amazing job with the Hitmans. Shout out to Cassandra. I always watch what she does. She does an amazing job there.
Yeah.
She's watching her grow is in that industry is amazing to watch, right?
Yeah.
And she's making a huge difference.
Yes.
But I know now you obviously play hockey, retired from the game. You have a daughter. I don't know if both daughters played. Is it
No,
just
the
Cassandra?
other one was a soccer player.
Played soccer, but now now we're looking at your experience as a player and having your parents. Now as a parent, how did you approach your kids playing sports? And I know you also had to coach as well. So yeah, Cassandra, I don't know if you coach your other daughter.
No, just Cassandra.
But how was your mindset with them when they played sports?
It was the same. She's one of the players, and she has to work hard, and she has to earn everything. And that was easy with her because she was a dynamo. She was going hard. She was fast skater. She battled hard all the time. So that was easy as a dad. And she had a regular shift like anybody else. And other people are watching, is he going to double shift her and stuff like that? She wasn't. She was working too hard for me to double shift her. So I coached her, and then some of the kids, the parents, every year at registration, they ask for their kids to be on my team because, I teach the nuances of the game, and I know my wife always said like, you can't teach what you don't know. So she did very good, and a lot of the girls that I coached improved tremendously and went on to play college as well, and then she decided to go to the Edge School, and then she went to play hockey at college. And then from college, she played professional in Sweden, and then now she retired and she's with the Hitmen. She's doing a great job. I'm so proud of her.
Oh no, yeah, as you should be, and again, all the stuff that she's done all the way to this point has allowed her to do and blossom the way she is right now. As a coach, you've had to coach your daughter, and it's cool that you say that she was a hard worker, because that sounds like she picked that up from someone, right? And
Our mom?
probably,
Probably.
it's just something. But is that something that you always instilled in her, or even her mom? Sorry, at home. Is that something that the work ethic? Where did she get that from?
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing is our kids, you got the crazy teenagers and stuff like that. They were always good. And every time they were asked to do something, they would do it. No matter if they were 4 years old or 15 years old, they would go hard at it, doing it as perfect as possible. And either Ashley or Cassandra, they were always good, always appreciated by the people around. So it's almost like I didn't have to say much. If for some reason they would lag, try to lean to the wrong direction, I try to bring them back, type of thing. But they've been very good. So, and I know working with a hitman, she has a lot of stuff. She does Hitman TV as well, and she just got back from I think 9-day road trip in Saskatchewan. So, I see how the other parents are. Cassandra should have been invited to stuff with Hockey Canada. She was one of the best, our age group in Alberta. But I was never like the other parents going, why my daughter is not? Because I know as a coach, when the parents start coming and say, why, right away, I tell my parents when I coach, you never win that. No matter how good the coach or how bad the coach is, you'll never win that battle. And I want her to earn whatever she get, I talk once, and they told me a bullshit thing, but what I know is if they made a decision, they make the decision. But because I see how the parents are, especially nowadays, so protective. It's always, if the kid is not doing well, it's the coach's fault. And that's why I like to have the checkpoint meetings with parents and players. And I could see the face of the parents feeling embarrassed, because the message from the kids from the ring to the kitchen table is not the same as the coach. So, and I'll make sure I wasn't that dad. I know my wife kept saying, what can you be sometimes like the other dad? Just go and tell him, hey, I'll play in the NHL, or, give her a shot, or blah, blah, blah.
But it's interesting because at the end of the day, life still worked out well for her. And then she's had a lot of success and ended up going play pro hockey as well.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting sometimes where, it's great because you've been a player, you've been a coach, you're a parent of a kid that played hockey, and you often see how sometimes, and again, I know it's not out of malice, I know that they love their kid, they want what's best for their kid. But sometimes you don't realize that for coaches, it's not easy to be a coach. There's a lot of things that you have to deal with, and you also have your personal life, right? And a lot of these coaches in those leagues, while they have other jobs too, right? They have the stress from their job, they have families, they have kids, they have, now they have to come coach, they have to coach, and now they have to also deal with the parents, right? And at times, as much as you think that you're helping your kid, sometimes you come in the way of their success, because if I'm a coach, and I'm always being bothered by a parent about the playing time, at some point, it becomes, what is the cost of me having you on the team and have to deal with your parent, or I can have another player, that happen to be a similar skill set, maybe I'll go with that kid because parents not on my back as much, right? And how is that for you as a coach to deal with that, right?
Well, it's not that easy. I always say I've been one of those kids. And I want everybody to have a great experience. So most of the coaches at the level I coach, they want to build a resume. They want to win. They think by playing their top players all the time, they will win. As much as possible, I want to play everybody. And I teach the same thing to everybody, either power play, PK, and everything. And by November, December, I start coaching. It's just game situation and stuff like that. But it never, it's still like, still complaints. The top guys, I don't play. I should play more than him. And then all of a sudden, the other guys, they feel they should be playing more. And some people say, "Oh, you're too nice, Claude, as a coach." I don't think I'm too nice. I'm just, I care. Maybe I care too much. I want everybody to have a chance to the next level. And that's why I still got some good relationship and stuff like that. But some parents, the parents are pushy or about those kids. Usually those kids are not playing hockey anymore.
That's right. And an interesting thing about this is, at the end of the day, as you said, at the pro level, there's politics. There's always politics, right?
Yeah.
So I understand why parents feel like they need to protect their kid, because sometimes they get caught on the bad side of politics. But I think a valuable lesson that you can teach your kid, as obviously, depending on the team that you're at, sometimes things are different everywhere you go, is teaching the kid to adapt. What did you do today to get better, right? What's the big picture looking like? Okay, the coach told you to go play this over there. How did you go out there and did you perform? What did you do, or you were pouting, right? Do what you're supposed to do and let the chip fall where they may. Because like you and me, my parents was in the coach's room talking about my playing time.
Never, ever.
But I still made it to the pro level because I was determined to make it, right? And it's not because my parents made it away from me, right? So I think I would encourage a little bit more parents to you still should look after your kid, because you never know what situation you're in, but also teach them to adapt and to still perform regardless of where they're at. Because in life, it doesn't matter where they are, in sports, in business, they're going to have to adapt, because
life's around the corner.
That's right, exactly. So no, I thank you for sharing that perspective. And one thing I really liked about you, and when you coach at IHA, and that's something that I will forever be grateful for you. And I know I've told you that many times. You allowed me to, I know I was the strength coach there, and we worked pretty closely together. And at the time, we had to overcome a lot of obstacles. And there's a lot of things that we had to be creative as well. You've always let me be me and always be myself. And because of that, you opened the door for me to explore so many different sides of me that I didn't really know I had. And I'm very grateful for that, and you not only treat the players like that, but the people that work with you, you've always embraced them for who they are and allowed them to be themselves. And sometimes there's mistakes that happen and things that happen, but you took it like a champ and you took it like a leader. And I always respect your leadership qualities.
I appreciate that. That was great having you there. That was awesome. And I always believe in empowering my assistant coaches and stuff like that. Let them do drills. Let them come with ideas. And I would try, even though back in my head I know it's not going to work, but just I want to make sure they're involved, And you wanted to be behind the bench for the boys, and that was great. That's another voice for the kids. And that time you would come to me and said, this guy easier than that guy, or things like that. And that's what I need to hear sometimes, because I'm so focused on the games, and maybe I say something, I don't see the reaction of the kid, and you're there, and then that's what helps everybody, the trainer, you, the coaches, and that's how you become a good team. I do video game analysis with a lot of players. And then some of those kids, I feel so bad for them. I'm trying to teach them different things without undermining the coaches, which I know is horrible, and they don't teach anything. And me, that I try. Basically, I take the NHL team, NHL style of play, or junior or the dub, and I break it down, and I try to instill that onto the kids. Everything they see with me, they see on TV and stuff like that. And then I see some of the coaching, and then some of the coaches, they never say anything. The assistant coaches, they just push the pucks. I was assistant coach twice, and the two times the coach wouldn't even let me toss the puck around or me talking on the board because he knew I knew more than he did, and he didn't want to lose his credibility. But I never undermined anybody. But that's the way life is, and the more people you go around to help you out, easier it is. And I learned a lot of stuff.
That's right.
About myself and about everything
That's
else.
Right. To build a solid team, and create an environment that's been beneficial for everybody, it needs more than one person. And sometimes people, for different reasons, they don't allow certain people, either is they feel threatened or they
That's the main one.
Definitely ego and all these different things. But once you empower people, it may not be perfect right away, but it's always an opportunity for everybody to grow. And sometimes as a coach, sometimes even me as a coach, I step back and I let my assistant coach talk, because it's good for, even though it's a similar message, it's good for them to hear from a different voice, right? It may resonate even a little bit better. And I'm always grateful for you to give me the option to speak to the boys, because we're both passionate players. You played with passion, I played with passion, and I coach with passion, And it was an opportunity for me to share my passion with them, even though I didn't play hockey. I still have passion for sport,
It's the same thing.
No, definitely, and because of that, I feel like the players had a different experience with hockey, and I still in contact with some of these guys, and even though there was ups and downs throughout the year, a lot of them will say this was the most fun they've had playing the game, because you let everybody beat themselves, right? You let there's different characters on the team now, and I'm not gonna say names, but you let them beat themselves, and that, as a coach, that's a skill, and that's something that, and then the humility that you have to do that. You didn't always look at how is that gonna make me look, right? No, it was about them. And then it was about the growth of the players and of the coaches, and that's a sign of a true leader there.
Thanks. I believe that's how you build a better team, better coaches. Because one of the reasons I decided to coach is to give back. I earned a lot of experience traveling the world, playing with all the best players in the world. Playing at different leagues, like in Europe, in North America. I have a lot to give back. And then assistant coaches, that if getting involved, they might not be head coaches, but when they feel involved, it's great. I know our assistant coach told me that was the greatest hockey experience I ever had as a coach. And that's means a lot to me, hearing that. Definitely. Because at the end of the day, there's no way it can be like, oh no, you do this, you do that. It's my way or no way. So how's that going to work? And the kids, they need to be able to talk to an assistant coach or talk to you type of things. Because sometimes they're kind of scared to come and talk to me. So.
And talking about making a difference, that's something that you've done your whole life. You from being the first Haitian-born player and be on the national team, the amount of kids that are able to look at you and be inspired by that, and then you being able to make a difference in your kid's life, and having your daughter play and having made a tremendous impact in her life, and then especially as a coach now, and making an impact on a lot of kids' life, a coach's life, and now you get to make an impact in the hockey world, working with as an agent, right? So talk to
me. Agent, I'm helping out.
Okay, for sure. So different terms. So you're a representative, right?
Yeah. So basically, I work with my cousin's son as an agency in Montreal, and sometimes he has players in the West, and I help him out with those players. Either watch them play, do Zoom analysis, game analysis, or just go watch them play, or go on the ice and do skills. So it gets me involved.
For sure.
And I like to talk to the parents and the players, because I tell them, I was a coach. I know that's worked. You're not doing the right thing. Don't send those emails to the GM, the director, and the coaches. You're hurting your kids. So that's the angle I'm using when I'm dealing with those people. But I know a lot of parents, they see their kids the next level, and then, but I remember when I made the team, that they're just starting to have the Europeans to come over. There was 69 players 69 players at the camp for 4 spots. And these days, the chance to make the team little. So use this experience for the work life after friendship, experience of traveling, and you could play in Europe, play different leagues, but at the end of the day, you want to have fun play when you play men's league.
That's right.
I just, like I told you, I just came from a hockey tournament there. I'm watching all those guys in their 60s and they're having fun, and obviously they never played at any levels, even, and me, I know how to play the game, and I'm having fun because I know what to do with a certain situation. But so as long as when you're done playing hockey, you have fun playing hockey, and then
you don't resent the game.
You don't resent the game. But there's a lot of kids do, though.
Yeah,
because I play with some of those guys, that's their NHL there. And then when they come after me, they go hard. They say, hey, this is shitty hockey, buddy. You know?
Definitely. Is enjoy and be grateful at any part of life you are in the sport, because there's a lot of kids that don't have the opportunity to play, you know, and be grateful for the opportunity. Play with gratitude. And I think that you play with gratitude and passion, you know, and things are going to work out for you, you know, like it's worked out for you and it's worked out for me. So I appreciate you sharing those experiences with the audience here. The one thing that there was a guest that was here before and left you a question.
He left me a question.
Yes. So what is the most defining moment in your life, and how did that impact you, and what lesson did you learn from that?
I would have to go back to that moment. I went back to my dorm when I was junior, because I was a nice guy, like I told you. I didn't have the right mindset to play in that jungle. And I didn't sleep. I could see myself in that corner, and I couldn't breathe. And I was looking at all the scenarios, and I had to make a decision. Do I want this? I don't want this. And I made a decision that I wanted to follow my dream. And all that other stuff never affected me. I could tell you tons of stories that happened to me in Europe. Especially when I was mic'd up. I can't believe that never came overseas here from overseas. But I still play the same way on the ice, even though there's a blow up banana to my name on it from blue line to blue line in the stands. That moment in Quebec, that was in Montreal, in that dorm there, that changed my life, my personality, how I was going to deal with the rest of my life and the world.
And I could tell that you did that. And to this day, you know, you stuck to your word and do everything in your life the same way. So I thank you very, very much for sharing that.
No problem, brother.
So one thing is, as you know, as we work together, family is a big thing. You know, and this is the motto of the brand, you know, Bouk Performance. Family is a big thing. You know, what does family means to you?
Oh, it means a lot, because everything I did since I got my kids, for example, I did it for them, you know. Traveled the world, I played in the league. I could have quit hockey, but every time I came back home, they were there. My girls were there for me, and my wife. And then that, watching them going through life, all their ups and downs, adversity affects us, you know.
When you say us, what do you mean?
Us, and my wife and I, and we want them to have a good life. And life is not that easy. They're doing well, but there's certain situations that they have a tough time dealing with, and that affects us a lot. And like I tell the girls all the time, unconditional love. You know, I go broke just to help them out if needed. You know what I mean? And so, but I have a grandkid now, and it's the same. Those people, it's almost like I still live for them. You know what I mean? Definitely. We still live for them. But family is important. I think I'm in Calgary. Everything I did the last 30 years is for the family.
That's right. and in the love that you have, you did it for the unconditional love that you have for
Yeah.
your family.
And like I said, when they say I love you, I tell them I love you more.
That's right. Yeah, you do that. That's true. I love that. No, thank you, and thank you for sharing that, because everybody has a different perspective of family, and I appreciate you sharing that. Because I'm sure that your parents love you the same, and you continue that, and you not only do that with your own kids, but you do that with the people that you work with, and show unconditional love. So thank you for that. Last question I have for you.
Another question.
Yes, last question. So I told you you get to leave a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So you don't know who the guest is going to be. What question would you like to know? What would you like to ask the next guest?
Okay. Are you a girl or a guy?
That's it.
No, that's not a question?
No, it's not a question.
That doesn't go there? Oh, that would have helped. Question, okay. How do you deal with adversity?
How do you deal with adversity? Okay, thank you for sharing that.
No problem. And are you a guy or a girl?
You never know. No, thank you for sharing that. And thank you also. Thank you for being the second guest with the book, and the real story. Again, we got the real and authentic story from Claude. Thank you very much for sharing all your experiences and all your thoughts around your professional career as a parent as well, and as a coach, and right now helping the next generation being able to make an impact in this world. So thank you very much for being here.
It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure, and I hope that you continue to continue making an impact, and I hope that we continue that nice and great bond that we have together.
And we will.
Thank you
so
much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,